watching. So we're taking a look at the little Sig 938 today, and I've learned my lesson. I know that I have to start out a video with some shooting, so we're going to take a few shots right off the bat. Stout recoil on this little bugger. I'll tell you what, the 938, really interesting little gun, because I kind of both love it and I kind of hate it. It's interesting in that it's tiny. It's really, really small, and you know, the gun weighs like 20 ounces or less, if I remember right. Maybe it might even be lower than that. It might be like 15 ounces. This thing is small. It's like a tiny little 1911. It's butt ugly. I mean, look at the thing. It's like a square had sex with a rectangle. It's really, really hideous. They didn't even bother to chamfer off the edges up here. They just left it square because, you know, Sig. But, you know, it's one of those things that it has kind of an appeal to the concealed carrier in me who just wants to carry a gun all the time. Which is why I still have it. Now, this is not the most accurate handgun in the world. In fact, I find these to be pretty inaccurate. They're hard to shoot, they're tiny, they got a lot of stout recoil. It does not handle plus Ps as well as some other guns. You know, the Car MK9 is this size, but it handles plus Ps a lot better because it's heavier. But the gun is acceptably accurate, I guess, for a belly gun. I have had some reliability issues with this gun, and it does not have a really great return to zero on the barrel. The tolerances are awfully loose, so accuracy is a bit of an issue with these. But, you know, in terms of, you know, as a belly gun, it kind of works out just perfectly fine. Let's take another magazine through this and see how this goes. I'm seeing if it's going to run okay for me, because I'm kind of, the dual purpose for this video, I'm kind of reevaluating this for a concealed carry handgun. I haven't carried this in a long time. So, at least it's feeding today. You know, one of the things about the little 938, it has a bit of a funky battery of arms. Now, if you've got the hammer down and the safety on, you can't draw back the slide. It will go to half cock, and the funny thing is, even with the safety on, you can pull the trigger and it'll drop from half cock onto the firing pin, so be careful about that. So if you put this thing off safe, of course you can just draw the slide, then you can put the safety on, you can still rack the slide. It's a funny thing. But of course, you know, the safety will work that way. So the safety doesn't keep you from dropping the hammer from half cock to decocked. It will keep you from dropping the hammer on a full cock, though. Anyway, let's take a look at the action here. Watch how much recoil this thing does have, though. It's not punishing, but it's uncomfortable, and you do have to grab this thing with a fair amount of force in order to keep it from really jerking your hand back. One other thing I do want to mention, these magazines are made out of polished stainless steel, which is great for rust resistance, but they are a little slippery, and putting a new one in is a little bit rough. Now, they do eject from the gun. I mean, you can see I can just fling one out, but you know, ultimately it does have a little bit of a slippery feel to it. Unlike the Glock 43, which is polymer, and therefore you get a really good grip on it, actually. These are hard to finagle with, so, you know, in terms of reloads under stress, might be a little rough. They're also square, and I find that these are actually really easy to get reversed, you know, and fumble a reload. Anyway, let's take a few rapid fire shots and see how fast we can go. Not bad. kind of glad that I did that. Look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about sometimes questionable reliability out of these little guns. This is a pretty interesting little stoppage there. You can see it's still on the extractor. I guess how it worked. Let's go back to it. We got another one. Damn, look at that double feed. Look at that. I hope that's focusing. That is a heck of a stoppage. So, dang. See, it's actually hung up. Look at that. Wow. It's like hung up on something. Look at that. I think it might be this magazine, because I've never had, this is the first time I'm having issues with this. I think it's that mag. Let's see about this other magazine here. Maybe not. No locky back. Wow, that's interesting. So I think that there's probably a couple things going on. For one, the magazines that I have are really, really old. But I'm not 100% sure how that would stop the ejector and extractor from working together properly in tandem. You know, I think that maybe there is a problem with the gun not being, not running hot enough. You know, in other words, it needs like really stout ammunition to make this gun work right. But that's funny because the ammo I'm using works good in almost every gun that I have. You know, my Calico Liberty 3 actually runs that Privy Partisan ammunition really, really well. And that gun needs really hot ammo. So it's not crap ammo, it's 124 grain. It's actually relatively warm in terms of the actual loading. I'm not 100% sure if it's ammunition, magazine, or the gun itself. That being said, it does seem like maybe once you get this thing warmed up a little bit, there start to be some issues. Now, I've always been a little bit hesitant to recommend new SIG products because I think that their American designs are not super great. This thing, for example, doesn't even have a barrel tang that runs into the slide to regulate the barrel and the X-axis there. It's a quality issue that they need to probably sort out going forward. But, you know, and that causes accuracy issues, but beyond that, reliability is the really big issue here. There is a potential for it to have been my hand, you know, coming in contact with the slide here. But I will tell you this, when you pull this thing and use it in a defensive encounter, your grip is not likely to be the absolute best in the world either. So, you know, would I recommend it? Probably not. I would say avoid the 938, buy something else. Glock 43, Smith & Wesson Shield. Probably wouldn't buy the Kimber, by the way, which is basically based on this gun. And it's funny because I think they're using a bunch of OEM parts manufacturers to make parts for both guns, because they use the same magazines. That if you look on the Kimber Micro 9, it has very similar parts. And if you ever go handle one, they're very similar in terms of construction. But no, I wouldn't get this one. I would probably avoid the 938, just based on what I know now. It's a real shame because it is a tiny little gun. The Car MK9 is the same size, and I've found them to be incredibly reliable. I'd probably buy one of those over these. And if you can't stand the trigger of the Car, go and find yourself a Glock 43. It's lightweight, it's small, it's relatively easy to carry around. But, you know, I probably would not get the Sig 938. What a shame. Alright, thanks a bunch, guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye.